The city whines with a wet, whining holler, crying out from beneath the thunder. These places used to be filled with hopes and dreams and bustling city streets, businessmen and women running to make their fortune. Now it's only filled with death and decay. These poor folks will never be able to leave here again. The name's Dutch, and this here is my daughter Janice. We've been surviving here for quite some time now. We've been going city to city to find useful weapons, resources, food, and other items before we ultimately go about setting up our own base somewhere deep within the mountains. My daughter is a bit of a bookworm. She says that some of the local brochures and textbooks talk about a pre-infection drug manufacturer to the north in the mountains. Apparently, this is where they have some type of stockpile. I think we're gonna try to head that way. But before we go anywhere, we have one of our members by the name of Tasia, who is recovering from a sleeping disease, and we have Katie here, who recently fell in a crash shuttle and is quite injured. We'll need to let her heal up and to decide whether she wants to tag along or go out on her own. Don't worry, I triple-checked her for any bites from zombies. She does have a scar, but if that were an infectious one, we would have already put a bullet in her head. We're still going to be using our old hideout here, but instead of reinforcing it, unless we have to, we're just going to try to strip the city of what remains, and then we're gonna get the hell out of here. By that time, our two sleeping and injured members should be up and at 'em. Janice will tend to the resting folk while I head out in search of useful items. First and foremost, to make things a little bit easier on our stay here while we're still here, I'm going to be bringing some dressers and end tables back. Trust me, it'll be good for our mental health. Our plans of potentially staying here are ruined by the fact that the surge in the populace of zombies has increased quite a bit in recent weeks. I wish to find other survivors who might be willing to join our cause, but I think I'll just try to set up our own base and go out venturing for them into other cities when I can. Touching back on the surge in zombies through this city, though, we are going to be building ourselves a few bell traps. Now, what these are going to do is they are going to alert us when any creature walks near them within a certain vicinity. We've put one on each corner of the building. If zombies hit them, we'll hear them ding and we know where they're at. For example, if there's a huge horde down here on the southeastern part of the building, we know that we need to escape through the northwestern section. Now with these safety measures in place, the real exploration can begin. I know, it looks a bit silly, but this plate helmet is going to keep my face safe from any zombie bites or scratches, and I'll take safety over fashion any day of the week. I would head out to the western section of the city exploring any buildings and ruins that I could in search of anything that I might find useful, as previously discussed. One thing that I found that will be quite useful is pemmican. We could always use more food. We definitely have a lot of hungry mouths at the moment. Obviously, though, this search was not without its hardships, as many of the undead would spot me and attempt to murder me. At times, I didn't know if I would even make it back to my little girl. But luck was on my side. I would also extract as much serum as I could in case we were to get another infection. I want to make sure we have as much as possible for a high enough chance to try to cure it. I hope to never be bitten by one of those disgusting monsters ever again. But as they say, hope for the best and plan for the worst. We would also bring in many of the corpses of the wildlife that the zombies had killed. That way we could butcher them, cook them, and eat them. Cooking these animals actually kills off any infection that is within them, as it isn't active at the moment. As we were storing up meals for our journey to the mountains, Katie was recovered from her injuries and decided that she was going to leave. I somewhat wish she would have stayed with us. I definitely think that would be the safer option for all of us, but I understand she probably has her own people to get back to. We would see her off. For several days we would stay inside since we have plenty of animals to butcher and to eat, meaning we really don't even have to go outside. We could hear zombies out there, and it seems like the population is surging even more than it already has. This worried me a bit, and I had honestly had enough of an experience traveling through the city for a few days anyhow, and I'd prefer to spend a few with my daughter. However, when we heard the thunderous crashing sound of cargo pods nearby, we decided to venture out once more into the rainy streets. I suppose that these weapons must have been shipped from the central government, although it might be another group of survivors. Nevertheless, I couldn't imagine the central state using a giant club or a sword. But I think I could see myself wielding it. Unlike a knife, it is much larger. That means I also have a greater distance to swing from and be able to kill zombies before they get too close. While I'm out, I might as well start deconstructing some of these Devil Strand sandbags. I think that this little textile is going to be absolutely perfect in tandem with the small amount that we already had to go about making some decent clothing. I also found plenty of gold and a great big room and or building completely chocked to the brim with undead. I managed to escape from them, come back, sneakily grab the gold, and get the hell out of there, along with a helmet. A bit farther to the south, and I actually managed to find a mini turret. It didn't have any power, which I didn't really mind. I would take it back with us. I'm sure there's some use I could find for it, like hooking it up to one of our batteries. It's important to remember that turrets like this are quite useful. However, they basically have a mind of their own, a simple targeting system, meaning that they will fire at zombies, making a lot of noise even when you don't want them to. During this time, we would also spend many days inside. We could hear buildings and the city burning all around us until the flooding rains would come to extinguish the fires. I don't really have much of a reason, other than the fact that I was trying to give Tasia a few more days before she would finally wake up from her sleeping disease. That's also why you haven't seen much raw gameplay of me exploring the city or anything yet, because I found most of this to be rather boring. We're basically just walking around the city, shooting a few zombies here and there, and then waiting on our other survivor to awaken. Before she would awake though, we began making ourselves a nice pair of coveralls out of Devil Strand. The reason for this is because Devil Strand has a unique property to protect you against heat and sharp damage. Also a little bit of blunt damage as well. Again, throwing fashion to the wind as I kinda look like a discount Santa Claus, but coveralls will actually protect my entire body except for my neck, my head, my hands, and my feet. As shown here with my body's protection stats going through the roof, especially for heat and sharp of course. And finally, just like that, Tasia had recovered from her sickness. Finally on her feet for the first time since we met her a couple of months ago. She immediately went to equipping a nice helmet and some weaponry to help us out. But now that she's able to walk on her own and we don't have to carry her around anymore, I actually think that this might be the perfect time for us to leave this city behind. Besides, I've already explored the vast majority of it and taken anything that would be useful to us on our journey, or just in general already. Alright kiddo, I think it's time that we head north to the mountains. And so we would, traveling for several days and several nights. We stuck to the roadways, but occasionally would have to drift off into the woods when there was a central state checkpoint, or when we spotted infected, or possibly even raiders and bandits. Eventually, though, we would arrive safe and sound. This was quite the change in scenery. Lush, beautiful woodlands as far as the eye could see, until your eyes were met with gigantic mountains. As we searched the area, we would eventually come upon what appeared to be some type of ancient stockpile, storage area, or perhaps even a bunker. It's hard to say whether or not anyone's actually down in there, but I would bet that this is the same drug stockpile that young Janice has been reading about. Unfortunately, I am more brawn than brain, so it's going to take me a very long time to try to hack this terminal so that we can crack it open, possibly even use it as a base. But as the night falls upon our weary heads, I think it's time that we set up camp. I would build us a nice fire, and we would lay down our sleeping bags. That way we could keep warm through the chilly evening. Tasia and Janice would sleep the night away as I stood guard by the fire, shotgun in hand, watching the tree line. The city has more zombies, of course, because of the higher populations there when the infection struck. But places like this, You never know what goes bump in the night. The next day, Tasia would begin mining out a small section of the mountain. That way we could use it as a temporary bunker ourselves, as I was attempting to hack the actual bunker. I'm glad that she's finally awake. She's the only one of us three who actually has any experience mining. In the meantime, I would also crudely begin sewing together a couple of cloaks out of all the textiles that we brought with us. I made one for Janice and one for Tasia, since the two of them are rather cold right now in the frigid temperatures of the mountains. We had focused so much on the zombies, we hadn't even taken frostbite into account. We began moving our massive load of resources over towards where we're camping at for the moment. That way, we don't have to travel all that far for steel and stone blocks and other things. At some point or another, Tasia had finally mined out this little square under the mountain here, where we would set up our campfire as well as our sleeping bags. This would contain the heat much better, keeping us much warmer, and since we had set up a door, we could all sleep. I wouldn't even have to keep guard at night anymore, which would mean that I would be much sharper in the morning well rested. We had also struck a vein of steel ore, absolutely perfect, as steel is a vital and crucial resource to any survival camp. It can be used for walls and doors, as well as knives and swords, or even pots and pans to cook over the open fire. It wouldn't be long at all while we were here before snow would begin falling. Winter was just around the corner. To my surprise, we had yet to see our first zombie. Yet. Uh-oh. So it begins. The very first infected in this new area. I am noticing it looks like, oh, there was another one. Perhaps killed by the animals in a bit of a tussle. It seems that they were hunting these animals. With the snow coming through, they're most likely going to start gravitating to woodlands and other areas like this, where there is more plentiful food. So that's something we're going to have to keep an eye out for as we continue trying to survive here. But it looks like we did handle the first with a decent bit of ease, so we should be fine, hopefully. Perhaps we should try to build a fence or a wall to create a bit of a perimeter here to keep us safe while we're just doing some tasks in our little square, our little area here of the valley. And so that's immediately what we began working on, utilizing all that steel that we had mined a day or so ago. The fence that we ended up building was chain link. This way we can shoot out of it. The only downside is that zombies will also be able to see us inside here. But for the time being, it's the best that we could do. We began slaughtering a lot of the wildlife that had died and been killed in the area, stockpiling a little bit of food. The cold, icy temperatures were not all that comfortable, but they would help us keep our meals frozen and fresh. Eventually, I would manage to finally hack the terminal for the stockpile. And with that, I suppose it's time for us to head down. Here's hoping the place is a perfect paradise, completely devoid of any of the hell here on the surface. But something tells me that's not the case. So we're down here. I'm sure you can hear that. So we're also seeing that a wasp trap was triggered. I already hear, through the walls and the doors, some very unwanted company in here. See how this goes. We have to be very careful. So let's go ahead and take a look. So it looks like most of these walls and doors have been destroyed or damaged to the point that we can actually just kind of walk through. I guess I could hack this terminal. We'll let Tasia take point with Janice for a moment. We've opened a blast door somewhere. We do also have components, and we also have a crate over here. Let's take a look into this room. I'm gonna go ahead and crack open the crate. Oh shit, our first undead. Oh, there's a map in here. I'm gonna let Janice pick up the map. She is the one that loves to read, and in the meantime, we're gonna try to kill as many of the undead as we can here. I want to deconstruct these. And the reason for that is so that we'll actually have a clear path through here. And after these are cleared out like this, the reason we're deconstructing them for a clear path, obviously, is in case we have to run and we can go back this way. So let's go through here kind of slow. Do that. The zombies are suspiciously quiet all of a sudden. Now I hear them again. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, okay, okay. Get away, Tasia, move. That was very close. It seems like the charged shotgun really stuns them quite a bit as well, which is nice. Now, I did bring a mini turret and a battery with us. I haven't set them up yet. I don't know where a good spot would be to do that. Perhaps, actually, I think a good idea, set up the turret and the battery right here, just in case. Quick way to make a retreat back here if need be. And it might come in handy, because this little spot right here seems to be a bit of a bottleneck for all of the infected that we keep encountering. Let's all come to the door. I'm gonna let Tasia take point here. Let's crack open the door. Let's take a look around. I see where the wasp... Oh, there is an infected there. The wasp traps must have activated. Could be because we opened the hatch doors. Maybe they were deactivated until that happened, of course, and then it activated the internal defense force. Oh, I think, finished her off. Unfortunately, the stove and everything down here is not functional. However, we did just find a boatload of pharmaceuticals, which could definitely help us, even if it's just a trade, and we also have plenty of survival meals now. Let's go ahead and open that. Oh, looks like Twinkies. Well, I suppose they would survive for this long. I'm gonna take and open this door. Nothing here that I can see. Bring everyone over, and then we'll try to infiltrate from up top up here, so we can hear them in the corner there. Let's go ahead and we'll try to kill them. And we'll actually start moving out of the room and back this way. Okay, so we need to infiltrate again. Okay, looks like he's up there. Ah, there we go. Is that all of them? We must have killed... Okay, yeah, I think we got them all, because the one's outside. We're gonna need to hack this blast door. We weren't able to unlock that one on terminals. I'm gonna let Tasia... Let's see. Nothing in here. That ammo box is old and does not work. Very unfortunate. Okay, nothing in here either. Gonna take a minute, but we will get this door hacked, and then we will infiltrate. I can hear them roaming around, so let's just take a little peek. Alright, there's one literally right there. Convince it to come through the door so that we can shoot it. There they are. Go, 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 and there we go. Ooh, Janice almost got bit. I saw the knife come out, which means that she got into a melee combat situation there. I'm hearing them still, but less so. Let's move this way. Okay. They all seem to be in this area here. If we're quiet enough, we should be able to do this, I think. We opened a blast door, but it was that one, which doesn't matter because it looks like the walls have been destroyed by these zombies. Let's move as a group for sure. Okay, we're already shooting. Alright, let's go back through this way. I'm going to hold the door open so that we can continue firing. Okay. Yeah, we'll try to coax them out one at a time. I don't know exactly how many are in here, but it does sound like there's quite a few. There we go. We put that one down. There's another one. It's actually two of them, I think. Uh-oh. Move, move, move. Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, no. Janice. Oh, no, no, no. Oh, no. Oh, man. Poor Janice. I hope. Let's check her out. Oh, on the neck of all places. Okay, so we're gonna tend to her. There's no medicine down here yet that we found. Let's search a little bit more. We're gonna try tending to it. I could be wrong. I don't think the tend quality matters for the chance of a zombie infection. I think it's just 50-50 whether or not it happens. We have an Archotech eye. Now that is interesting. That could be for Dutch. For Janice, though, bitten on the neck by a zombie. Oh, you poor, poor child. We, I think, can make another cure for her, though. I'm going to go ahead and tell you if she doesn't survive and turns into a zombie, there's no way that Dutch is going to survive, okay? I'm just going to tell you that right now. We're going to continue because really, even with her bitten like that, the only thing we can do now is wait to see if she actually becomes infected. Unfortunate, but that is the way that it goes. Let's go ahead and start hacking this door so we can try and get into the other side. I hear zombies in there. It may lead to this room below the entranceway. Okay, let's get everyone behind. Oh, there's another one. That's odd. Let's hack that one. We'll go ahead just in case of zombies, which it sounds like there are some in there, so. I find it very odd that there would be 2 blast doors. I am going to let Dutch take the lead simply because he has the best weapons and also the best armor with his Devil Strand shirt. So let's see what kind of Whoa, 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 whoa! That is not a zombie, my friends. That is a ancient soldier. He's not part of the... So he's not part of the Central State. Holy shit. Oh my, look at this. This is someone who's been surviving in this bunker for years, probably. Oh, wow, look at the setup. Vanometric power cell, a heater. Wow. The issue is he's not friendly. I don't think he's going to listen to any conversation. So that means we kind of sort of have to blast his ass. I'm going to let Janice sit this one out because she's already injured. It would be nice if we could do this without having to kill him, but I don't know how well that's going to work. Oh, and we didn't kill him. That's nice. Okay, all right. You know, he's probably been in here for so long. He needs to be, rehabilitated. He's probably lost his mind in here. I actually want to tend to him. I don't have any medicine, of course, so... And we shot off his right arm. Oh man, his kidney is destroyed. He's pretty badly injured. But I'm going to try to tend to him. That way we can maybe rehabilitate him. You know, we believe in second chances. We try to help everyone that we come into contact with. So, you know, we want to do the same for him, of course. Oh, no. Imminent zombie infection. Oh, no. Oh, okay. That's for the infection. My bad. So, and of course we see here. So Janice has the imminent zombie infection. So... the penicillin, of course, as I mentioned, I think in the first or second video, does not stop this at all from happening. It's just normal sickness and stuff. Back to what I was saying, though. So with the ancient soldier here, what I'm going to do now that he's kind of tended to, so we've claimed his bed, and we are going to actually capture him. Oh, he's unwaveringly loyal, though. That's an issue. I don't know if I want to enslave him. I kind of have to if I'm going to keep him around at all. We could enslave him. For whatever reason, he doesn't have much will. So while we ponder on whether or not we're going to enslave our new ancient friend here who's been hiding in the bunker, we do have him detained in his own room. We have him taken prisoner. We still have more of the bunker that we actually need to clear out, so I'm going to do that first and foremost. We kind of need to do that too. We need to kill as many of the zombies as we can because how many of them are there here so far? Well, I can't click on them where they're not considered normal people. But these zombies, we can extract serum from them. We do have some back at the base already, and we should, theoretically, be able to use that, along with what we will get to cure Janice, or hopefully cure Janice. We need as much as we can because we need a very high chance. I don't want her dying. Let's go ahead. All right, move, move, move. Hold the door open. We're going to move back ASAP. And that way, our turret can help us. I think we might go. So the turret should be able to help us with killing them. I'm very glad we put that in this room. I'm going to let Dutch take the lead again. Dutch actually needs to... I need to self-tend, and that's because I forgot the ancient soldier gave us a good poke in the ribs a few times with his pointy knife. Tasia, take point here. With the turret, I think we're okay for the most part. I don't see any more infected in here either. Something we need to worry about are these corpses turning into zombies. I don't know if they can where their flesh has rotted, but it is definitely a possibility that we should try to account for, I think, for sure. Okay, we need to try to clear them out as soon as possible, though. Dutch is very much hungry. Or, not hungry, sleepy. Let's go ahead and... Okay, so we have one right there, and I think this is the end of the bunker for us. Let's see, we'll try and... Oh, we killed him right away. Let's hope he was the last, though. Let's take a look inside. Okay, so with that, we have officially cleared out the entire bunker, meaning that we can... We're going to let everybody go. We should be fine. We do have plenty of Twinkies, 31 of them that we can eat, and we do have our ancient soldier friend. Normally, I would say that we shouldn't enslave someone, but... So for one, he barely has any will, most likely because his mind is crushed from staying down here since the infection started, if I had to guess. Which, I mean, kind of makes you feel even worse because he's out of his mind and you're going to have to enslave him because he's not willing to join us. But the only other option is to kill him, and I don't think that that would be fair either. Now, we do have these ancient beds. We can actually go and sleep in these, which is a nice touch. So we're going to rest ourselves since he is detained and there are no more threats in here. Something to consider, though, is we now have this entire, yes, entire bunker to ourselves, which is pretty great. I'm going to look up top. So we do have the surface where we can create a little base up here, but we have the entire bunker underground. My idea, of course, I still want to go back to cities and stuff like that and try to explore because there's a lot of useful items at cities, but we could build a thriving community up top, up here, where we have people join us, and we can fight back against the central state as well as the infection and the undead. And then we could have a thriving community underground as well. The thing about fortified walls, though, is we can't break through them. So we have to operate in what is given to us here. I don't see any openings in the fortified walls that would allow us to mine or anything like that. So we do have to... Or actually, right here is one. I just noticed there is one right here. There's granite. So theoretically, we could... Yeah. Oh yeah, if we wanted to, there is an opening from these zombies destroying a lot of this over the years. We could theoretically expand the bunker as well, basically making it like a giant, you know, out of proportion with this series, but kind of like a vault from Fallout, right? We have this giant bunker in the hillside or underground where we can, you know, we can live out our lives away from everything else if we so choose. And this could also be kind of like an emergency place if we were to get overrun up top or overrun by the central state. So I think that's probably what we'll end up doing. Let me know what you think about that, guys, if you like that. You know, I'd love to hear your opinions, of course, as well as what you would like to see. Now then, with that, it's time that we begin extracting serum from all of these filthy, rotten boys and gals as much as we can. We need the highest possible chance of curing Janice's infection as soon as possible. And in the meantime, Tasia is also going to go around and double tap all of the corpses that don't have skin on them and that weren't kind of alive a few moments ago, just in case. We would also enslave the ancient fellow who had been hiding out down here in the bunker, and we forced him to take off some of his armor. He can keep his uniform. I'm not exactly sure what military he was aligned with, but we only want the things that could do us harm if he decides to turn on us, not his dignity. Besides, this armor wouldn't be any good on him anymore anyhow. We can't allow him to have a weapon, and so the only thing that it could be used for is to protect us while we're out killing zombies or defending him. We would also head back to the surface and start hauling all of our items, resources, weapons, anything and everything that was within our belonging back down to the bunker. Not only would it be safer down there, but the bunker will also keep it from deteriorating. While we were up here, we had a massive swarm of zombies enter the area. Now you might think that this is pretty bad news, and I guess it kind of is, but we do need a lot of serum. Myself, Tasia, and our new friend by force would all head out and start hunting down many of these undead killers. Thanks to the new SMG that Severin had in his possession when we knocked him down in the bunker, it was actually quite a bit easier to kill them from a distance. Finding the swarms of the undead also wasn't all that difficult. All we had to do was look for the giant patches of dead animals they had killed and hunted. Hunting them down and killing them would be our top priority, at least for the next few days. Not only were we attempting to kill as many as we could so that we could extract as much serum as we could for our cure for Janice's neck, but we also wanted to decrease their population as best we could too. When they get into a gigantic horde, this can cause them to start raging, especially during a time like winter when most of the animals and other wildlife in the area end up becoming a bit more sparse. Important to remember that zombies are human, or at least they were, and just like most humans, they can become a bit hangry. The only difference is when they become hangry in a gigantic group, they don't start rioting or demanding food. They start ripping and tearing everything apart, looking for your internal organs. Speaking of food, us stealing the dead animals that the zombies had been hunting right out from under their noses when we killed them would actually help us out with surviving winter. And it turns out Severin was actually quite the cook. Quite a few groups of zombies were getting a little bit too close for comfort, in my opinion. I hope this doesn't become a reoccurring trend. Nevertheless, after spending many days collecting as much serum as we could, we would actually go back down in the bunker, tearing up one of the rooms, tearing out the floors and any rubble and wreckage that we could, and we actually began laying down some steel tiles. The reason that we're expending our steel in this way is because they're actually much cleaner, these tiles, than the ancient flooring that's down here. And as you could guess, we're going to be turning this room into an operating room, not only for trying to cure infections for when the need arises, but also for just performing surgeries in general. Given the situation in the world, once we become a great big colony of survivors, medical treatment is definitely going to be needed quite often, I'm sure. Obviously, though, right now, we're very focused on curing that infection in Janice's neck, so we built our drug lab, and we are going to start synthesizing a cure right now. Alright, so we have, I think I collected too much. We actually have 88 zombie extract. That's a shame. We're so close to 90, but we're desperately running out of time here. I'm going to go ahead and do an 80% cure. I think that's fine, but Janice doesn't really have enough time for us to continue doing this, like to try and get more. She has 17.2 hours before she becomes a zombie. We could probably collect more in that amount of time, but I'm going to level with you. It would take a very long time for us to go back up here. There's probably some zombies not too far away, I would guess. But to go out, kill them, extract them by the time we get back in and finally finish the cure, because the cure takes so long, there's a good chance that we would have run out of time. And with this being the type of injury in the neck, the infection, where we can't actually surgically remove the body part, I just don't see any need to take the risk. What I'm actually going to do, as Dutch is working on that because it's still taking a very long time, I'm going to start clearing out a lot of this wreckage. That way we can get in here really quickly to actually perform the surgery. We'll have Severin go ahead and start removing a lot of this. I also want to get these bodies piled up in the corner down here. I really don't know what else to do with them. I need to burn them, but for now, I think that's our best option. Janice has 7 hours. We did finally finish it, and she has 2 hours to... Okay, we're cutting it very close. And our best doctor is still going to be Dutch, even though he has 1 arm. We're cutting it extremely, extremely close here. Almost 1 hour, please. Please, Dutch, please. Oh my god, please. No. I think we're about to run out of time. We're about to... Oh, fuck. Fuck. We ran out of time. Oh no. Oh god. Son of a bitch, dude. We ran out of time. Oh no, oh my god. Janice, no. Oh my god, 80%. Oh man, I don't even know what to say. Son of a bitch. We were halfway through administering the cure. I mean, we weren't going to be able to do it. Is Dutch? You have a bite on your left leg. Son of a bitch. Go ahead and tend to yourself. Oh God. Oh my god, that's so bad. Oh man, I don't even know what to say. Oh my god, I'm just gonna lock her in the room. Oh god, that's so bad though. Holy shit. Use normal medicine. I know we have Glitter World. I want to save it for surgeries. Oh god, this is... Oh no, I hear her. This is so bad. Oh, we were so close. I mean, there was no way for us to finish it, but I wasted so much time trying to make sure that we had a high enough percentage for the cure. Oh god. Oh no, we failed. This is... Oh shit, I don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say. Oh my god, this is so bad though. Janice, no! Oh god, if only I would have... You know, I mean, I could have went with a 70% chance. But there was no guarantee. I mean, that's a high enough chance, but I wanted higher because it's Janice, and obviously we don't want Janice turning. Oh my god, this is so bad. Oh my god, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Oh my god, this is horrible. We were so close but so far. Son of a bitch, dude. Oh my god, what do we do now? Okay, I mean, we do have an 80% cure in here still. I don't know what to do about Janice. I really don't. I mean, genuinely. I'm gonna pick up the serum with Dutch, because I'm gonna pick up the serum with Dutch. We're going to leave Janice in here. I don't know, but we're definitely not going to kill her. Not only are we going to not allow the door, I'm actually going to build a steel wall here to keep people from going in. I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know what to do. We might need to use the cure on Dutch now because he got bit by Janice when she turned. Genuinely the least of our problems. I don't know, man. I think we're gonna wall it off. I'm not gonna kill Janice because Janice is our child, obviously. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we just keep her here. Maybe someday there will be a cure that we can actually use on fully turned zombies. These are fortified walls, and though they can be destroyed, as we've seen, these zombies with enough time will destroy them. It's going to take a very long time, and that's assuming, I mean, this one's at 99%. You can see it'll take an extremely long time before there's any chance of her even breaking that one, and unless she focuses on these, she's not getting out of there. She'll just be beating through the stone. So maybe we kind of just keep her and keep her away from the rest of the world. I mean, this is an absolute tragedy. A tragic, horrible thing. I don't even know. I mean, genuinely, I have no idea what to say. Except maybe we just keep her, of course, alive. Maybe there's a chance she'll become human. Maybe there's not. I mean, it's a almost impossible scenario that we cure her now. I mean, let's be honest. But we can still try to help other survivors, and who knows, maybe someday we'll actually be able to cure her. But that is not, oh man, that is not what I wanted to happen. I thought the higher percent chance, obviously the better. I mean, that's true, but I didn't want to take so long with that this would be what ends up happening. Jeez, man, shit, it's just crazy. It's horrible. I don't know. I guess we just kind of keep on going, and maybe we'll be able to cure her someday, and until then, We'll be keeping her in the operating room, which is not going to be accessible to anyone ever again until we can somehow figure this out. Well, I'm gonna level with you. That was the exact opposite, as I said a moment ago, of what we expected and what we wanted to happen. I really screwed the pooch there, and I don't know. I said earlier as well that Dutch wouldn't be able to live without her. Technically, she's still here, but she's not exactly who she was. We do have to kind of continue on though, and part of that is going to be fixing up this bunker base. We have a lot of work to do if we're going to shape this place up to be an actual base, such as fixing up some of the walls like in the storage room here and starting to actually designate a lot of these rooms as their intended purpose, such as a kitchen and dining room, and thus we're also going to be building a fueled stove. Not only are we going with the fueled stove because we don't really have a lot of power being generated down here, with us only really having the vanometric power cell, but also this way, even once we get a proper generator, we won't be using up power for meals. We would also end up heading back to the surface. It looks like some of the zombies have been destroying our chain link fence, and we'll need to make some repairs. I don't think I have to tell you, but the last thing that we want is for them to wander down into the bunker. But there were worse things up here than zombies. Drawings from Janice before she went down into the bunker for the cure. Reminders on full display of our failures. The survivalist knife that we had given her a long time ago. The throwing shards that she had found in one of the cities. This all genuinely made me very sad. But part of surviving is continuing on, pushing forward, even when it feels like everything is lost and everything is pointless. Which, I can definitely tell you that's how it feels right now. Nevertheless though, Dutch would continue soldiering on. We began cutting down some trees for logs that we began stuffing down into the bunker with our other items like our bedrolls, all the leathers that we had up top up here, as well as a few other items we had yet to take back into the bunker with us so far. Not only would the wood be great for building furniture and maybe walls or anything else that we needed, as it is a very ample and abundant resource, but we also built a wood-fired generator, that way we can burn the logs for power. It'll be great once we get a few more batteries, that way we can store up all the power that we're generating, but for now, keeping the generator fueled and the one singular battery full is going to be great for keeping all of our lights on, as well as our singular turret going as well. We let Severin keep his old room, but we also needed some rooms for ourselves. I'm not exactly sure what these small little area rooms here were, but we would use them for bedrooms for Dutch as well as Tasia. They might be tiny, but that also means they're fairly secure. Dutch was in a bit of a stupor, for obvious reasons, and he wasn't talking much. He was mostly just looking over Janice's things, like the map that she had been trying to read for some time. Bless her little heart. It looks like this map actually leads to some type of mercenary hideout. It's hard to say whether or not they're even there. It's about a 3.5 days journey. This could be worthwhile, traveling there once we have enough people and taking them out, and taking any resources that they have. We're opposed to killing other survivors, but mercenaries will make an exception for. That being said, a bit farther down the road, and we do have some more cities that might be worth exploring as well. I suppose we'll have to make a decision. Or, of course, we could always travel to all of these places in time. We'll wait and see. Besides, before we go anywhere, we do have a lot of preparation work to do, like getting enough meals together, that way we don't starve to death out on the road, especially in winter. Which, speaking of, we'll probably wait until spring, that way we can move much faster. In the meantime, we're also going to begin some research. Yes, our first research of the entire series. We're going to start working on security cameras. This might seem like a bit of an odd choice, but the reason for this is because of the fog of war, we can't see in rooms, we can't see up top while in the bunker. But if we use security cameras, we should be able to look out to make sure there's not a giant horde of zombies around the entrance before we go up. This took a little while because I'm not exactly an intellectual, as you might say, but time flies when you're stuffed in an underground bunker for days on end, so we would end up finishing the research rather quickly, I'd say. As I kind of implied a moment ago, our first security camera is going to be going up top. I tried to keep it in a fairly inconspicuous incognito location, with a tiny portable wood-fired generator powering it at all times. The downside to this is that we do have to go up top to keep it fueled, of course, but since zombies normally will destroy things, we kinda have to do that anyways to clear them out to prevent it from, well, being destroyed. Now you might be asking, how are we actually going to be monitoring this camera? Well, we're actually going to be building ourselves a central monitoring station. It seems a bit large and high-tech. Unfortunately, it is the only one we have access to building, otherwise I would have spent less resources on a smaller one. On the bright side though, the large size of the monitoring station does mean that the capacity is up to 12 cameras. Realistically, we could probably put even more than that in, but we have 12 screens at any given time. Which means that as we build up our society above the bunker or inside the bunker, we can continue placing cameras and we can continue monitoring them. So, just as we're doing right now, up top, say a gigantic horde of zombies is coming our way. We'll be able to easily see them and we'll be able to prepare for them. Or, if we end up building cameras all over the bunker on the inside and they do somehow manage to get in here, we'll also be able to monitor them, see them, and run away and hide or get ready to fight. I'm sure you can understand the usefulness of these. Our second and only other camera that we ended up building for the time being was inside the operating room. That way we can keep an eye on our poor, sweet Janice. Not only because she's actually made some pretty significant progress beating through the fortified wall, with it, I think, being at 35% now, which is insane, but also because we don't want her to die. We still love Janice. She's still our daughter, and I'm not going to give up on her. Not now, not ever. We have a pretty sweet setup here for us to go about creating a nice society of survivors away from everything, and a bit of a resistance against the central state. Whether or not this all works out in the end, and whether or not we actually accomplish any of our goals, is yet to be seen. But I think we have a strong foundation set up, but truly only time shall tell the tale. Until next time, friends.